In compliance with the Open Public Meetings Law, I wish to state that on December the 6th, 2019, the notice of this meeting of the Upper Township Committee was posted on the official Township Bulletin Board, mailed to the Cape May County Gazette, the Atlantic City Press, the Ocean City Sentinel, Ledger, the Herald Times, and filed with the Township Clerk. Tonight's meeting is being video recorded up until the closed session portion of this meeting and will be available on UTTV Channel 97 and on the Upper Township website. I hereby direct that this announcement made a part of the minutes. I would ask all to rise for the salute to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Barbara, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Barr?
Here.
Mr. Cox?
Here.
Present.
Present.
Mr. Young?
Here.
And Mayor Plummer?
Here.
Mr. President.
All right, would someone like to make a motion to approve the minutes from November 25th, both the regular and closed session minutes?
Motion to approve. Second.
Is there any corrections, deletions, omissions that anyone's aware of? Hearing none. Just call the roll.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Cox?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
And Mayor Plummer?
Yes.
Motion is carried. All in favor?
Scott, do you have anything for us this evening?
Yes, good evening, Mayor. Just one thing this evening. On November 25th, Paul Dietrich and I had a meeting with members of the Cape May County Prosecutor's Office to discuss a New Jersey Homeland Security and Preparedness Site Assessment, also known as a vulnerability assessment of our Township Hall building. Unfortunately, the report had come a little late, too late that I could get it all to you, but I do have a copy. I just received it this morning, and I've asked Barb to include that as an item for closed session discussion because of the sensitive nature of the content of the report. But I will say on the surface, we did very well as far as the assessment is concerned. I'll let you read that. It'll be in SharePoint for your review of the week. And that's all I have.
Thank you.
Kenny. Barbara.
I just wanted to remind everyone that the last meeting for 2019 will be next week, December 16th at 7:30 p.m. That's all I have.
Okey-doke. Daniel.
Nothing at this time. We have a few items for closed session.
Okay. Paul.
Thank you. I do have several items this evening. First, I want to let the committee, the contractors finish up the majority of the beachfill work up on the beach in Strathmere. They placed a little over 510,000 cubic yards of sand on the beach. That was an additional 100,000 over what the bid quantities were. In about the next 2 to 3 weeks, they'll probably start doing the two crossovers that were there, as well as probably in the springtime they'll be back to do the dune grass.
So what did we decide with Seaview? And then,
that's something I wanted to talk with you. One of the other items that I was going to discuss was that we received a notice from the DOT that we received $162,000 grant for pedestrian safety improvements along Neptune Drive. And I thought possibly, if you recall, the crossover at Seaview is very steep. Because of just where the dune is and how close the road is at that corner. And thought it might be appropriate to possibly extend the sidewalk on Neptune and build a set of stairs up to the top of the bulkhead there. Would be a much safer beach access and more user friendly, as well as we wouldn't have sand and dirt washing down as much of the road. Public Works would be able to maintain and stabilize that dune bank much better than if it had the crossover coming down onto the street.
So are you suggesting steps or just...
Steps. Steps would go up to the top of the bulkhead, and then we would extend out with a normal gravel path.
But you wouldn't put steps on the beach side, right?
No.
Yeah, I think that's probably a good idea.
It would help with the washout.
I mean, I remember we had the issue with Vincent with all the, whatever the coarse dirt was put down there to try and hold the path before the actual sand got on there. And it was a mess every time it rained, so.
It also make it easier for when we have erosion to close that path off It'll be much easier to close off, a wooden stairway as opposed to, trying to close off that gravel path as it is. The only problem or issue that we'll have to work out is the adjacent property owner at the corner there has kind of constructed landscaping improvements into the right-of-way up to the curb line, so we'll probably have to coordinate with him about relocating some of his landscaping material.
So that's on the
They're in the
left-hand
right of
side?
way.
Yes.
There's no coordination. They're in the right of way. They're ours.
Clear it out.
So I just want,
He has railroad ties and stuff there, right?
there's some large landscaping stone and
Landscaping.
mulch and some vegetative material, some shrubbery and different items that we'll have to relocate out of the right-of-way.
All right, well, just,
But if that's something that the committee's acceptable for, we can discuss possibly with having that done.
I'm in favor of it, but we're not going to relocate somebody's personal landscaping. If they put it in our right of way, they have to remove it. We're not relocating.
So what would you put there, sidewalk?
I would put sidewalk up to a point, and then we would construct a timber crossover at that location. We probably wouldn't do it right away as part of initial construction. I'd probably hold off and say that we would do the sidewalk as part of the pedestrian safety improvements that we're going to do along Neptune and construct it as part of that roadway project would be my recommendation.
Do we have any other issues on that street with right-of-ways
On
Neptune?
Neptune, there are going to be some issues along Neptune to construct
So
the pedestrian.
you
why
do
don't
a
I-
blanket
yeah, I was going to say,
coverage
you
and tell
should,
everybody.
yeah, but, and then I think you should go to Shelley in the zoning office or whoever the right person is, and so that we start notifying the folks that, this is something we anticipate happening because of the grant that we got, and, I just don't want to have us go in and all of a sudden start removing everything without
Correct,
giving
yeah.
them a heads up on what's
would-
going on,
So it definitely I've already talked with Barb, I'm trying to get some survey quotes to go ahead and get the surveys done so we can determine where the right-of-way lines are and determine what we'd have to do.
Paul, how many crossovers will this 162,000 allow us to?
Well, no,
Improve.
this is not for crossovers. This is for pedestrian, in other words, there's no sidewalk along Neptune
Okay.
between Williams and Seaview. This is really to get a proper width of that street and then construct sidewalks and crosswalks at the crossovers. In that stretch, there are 4 crossovers, I'll say, 4 streets.
Okay.
Williams, Winthrop, Seacliff, and Seaview.
But the crossovers themselves will not be part of
No.
this project? Okay.
Except for working at the one at Seaview to kind of
Make a landing.
Make that landing and
Okay.
that. But the crossovers that go down on the beach.
Williams is the one we have the big handicap crossover anyway.
Correct.
That's kind of what I was getting at, to see if there was anything in that grant that we could use for improvements on some of the handicapped access. But,
No, we can't really, the permitting has already been done. In other words, we would need additional permitting if you wanted to try to construct another handicap access ramp.
gotcha, okay.
So that covers the grant. The other thing I wanted to say is Deputy Mayor Barr and myself, we were down at the county, I think about a week and a half ago at the county freeholder meeting where they approved the extension of the Beasley's Point Park improvements and extending our grant from $500,000 to $1.3 million for the park improvements for that. As part of the county creative placemaking plan, it kind of a plan that they developed in coordination with a lot of stakeholders throughout the county to create that sense of place throughout all the county park improvements that they do in the different towns. And they're using obviously Beasley's Point Park as their focal location.
And we'll use their symbol, their new,
Going to use some of their branding and symbols. I spoke to Community Coggins, and I'm going to try to get this plan as well as some other information for the project up on SharePoint so that you have that readily available to access and review as this project moves forward.
The plan's real similar to what we went down last time and saw.
It's the same plan.
that's the same plan.
We just got to approve, the grant is in its final stages of getting
But
approved.
by agreeing to
plan.
use the branding, they expanded some of the opportunities, like, that can be utilized.
Yeah, it's going to be county-wide. That's what we're coming up with branding for the entire county.
Yeah, well,
This is going to be the first first project that they've done, so.
Correct.
Yeah,
And
that's
part
what they
and part
did
of
the last time.
And we do have on the agenda, though, I understand that there's some issues with resolution, we may have to move that, but, you know, we were looking at purchasing some of the benches in advance of some of the construction, just because of some of the price increasing that's gonna see next year, but those are the, you know, they've picked out stock, when you look through this plan, they've picked out styles of benches, lighting, and site amenities and features to kind of talk to the towns and say, hey, this is the level and quality of materials that we're willing to help fund, to incorporate those into projects that they're funding and, you know, working with the municipalities, as well as branding and, you know, other symbolic
Yeah, it's going to be
signage.
nice.
And
Major
is,
facelift.
is a time frame of next summer achievable?
Our consultant is submitting for the DEP permits this week. Hopefully we'll get them back in January. Then we'll be able to put the project out to bid, and then that will kind of, once we're able to have the DEP permit and put it out to bid, then we'll have a better feel for the exact timing. The pavilion, I've talked to the vendor, that is a long lead time for that. It's almost a 10 to 12 week lead time for that. So depending on how everything goes, it might not be early, spring, but it might be, maybe June to late June, somewhere in June, I'm hoping for.
Have we heard any more about the bridge?
They were trying to coordinate a meeting for last week. The meeting did not happen. In talking with the Parkway officials, they still seem that they wanted to open it possibly in conjunction with when we open up the park, though Summers Point is still resisting some of it because they're trying to put pressure on the DOT to kind of complete and give them ideas on when they're going to complete improvements to connect from their bridge through to the 9th Street 52 Causeway Bridge, which that could be a long 3 to 5 year project time frame. I don't think anybody wants to wait that long. I don't think the Parkway wants to wait that long.
It'd be an awful nice walk, just be able to walk across it and turn
Absolutely.
around and come back.
And that,
We're just
It's
trying to play
ridiculous.
across. There's still a parking lot on the other side, correct?
there is still a parking
Or you
lot.
can actually drive your car across it, what it was meant to be.
Yeah, there was a car that drove across it, right?
And then the last thing I had, and I think this is going to make a lot of people in the township happy, this week the county is receiving bids for the reconstruction of Corson Tavern Road. So that project is finally upon us, and so with a bid at this point, they'll probably award it. I don't know if they'll be able to award it this year, but they'll be able to award it and give a notice to proceed by January for spring construction by the time they get moving.
That'd be
And Hope
nice.
Corson's on track, the second part?
Hope Corson Road, they hope to have that completed by Christmas.
That'll be nice. Corson Tavern Road, the middle of July and August repaving. They thought that one through. They stopped
Like there's
fixing
anything-
potholes in it about a year ago.
Not like there's
so.
anything on that road.
There's no campsites.
There's nothing on that road.
They also discussed, I also talked to the county engineer, and he did discuss New Bridge Road, and the only thing holding that project is they're still waiting for 2 property owners to give them some easements for some minor right-of-way taking and for drainage improvements on some of the intersection streets.
The other thing too, the fund we're receiving for the park, how's that going to coincide with us, with improvements we need to make on our boat ramp and all? I mean, I hate to see us do things 2 or 3 times down there.
Well, it's not going to be part of 2 or 3 times because we're not doing anything, the 1.3 million isn't part of that. If I believe in the bond, we have some
Yes.
funds available in there, and I should be receiving,
You're going to adopt tonight, possibly.
and then I should be receiving the survey of that area to be able to determine what the waterway conditions are to kind of get a good feel for what we can and can't do there.
Yeah, if it's going to be a major, I was just worried about, again, doing everything else being completed, and then we got trucks down there and cranes down there, and, undoing what we're trying to do.
Well, there won't be undoing it. It's a separate part of the facility, so it won't be.
Yeah.
All right,
It's all good news.
That's all I have this evening.
Barbara,
Nothing this evening, Mr. Mayor.
all right. Committeeman Coggins,
Nothing to report this evening, thanks.
Committeeman Young.
I was invited to attend the Upper Township Indians football banquet yesterday. Very nice affair at the Flanders. And, I didn't speak, but I made sure that they knew that, the Township Committee was very thankful for what they do as a program and that they have our continued support. Also, what I'd like to do, which we haven't done before, is when we bring the varsity and the JV teams in for the resolutions, I'd like to include all the cheerleaders for the varsity and the JV in that for resolutions. Prior years, the cheerleaders have been competition cheerleaders, so they would let them win their own things. Our program now has went back to where I was hoping it would, and they are now football cheerleaders. And I think they deserve the recognition also for being part of the team and the support they give. So if everybody's good with that, Barb, we're going to get the names to Barb and get resolutions and bring them all at the same time.
Sounds like a plan.
That's all I have.
Deputy Mayor Barr,
I have nothing to report, sir.
Committeeman Corson,
Nothing at this time, Mr. Mayor.
nor does Mayor Palumbo, so we'll move on to the resolutions.
Maybe we want to see the Eagles.
I don't know about that. I'm in no rush, they haven't played so good.
Okay, item number 1 under resolution, authorizing a shared services agreement with the Cape County Municipal Utilities Authority for solid waste disposal and recycling services.
Move the resolution.
Second.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
And Mayor Palumbo.
Yes.
Motion carried. 2, appointing Jeffrey R. Sereni and Associates to act as special legal counsel in matters involving affordable housing obligations.
Motion to appoint.
Second.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo?
Yes.
Motion is carried. 3, authorizing the execution of an NJDEP TWA1 application statements of consent form regarding 708 Bayview Drive, Strathmere, Block 826, Lots 2 and 2.02.
Move the resolution.
Second.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo?
Yes.
Motion is carried. 4, tax refund for Block 693, Lot 7.08.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo?
Yes.
Motion carried. 6, certification of costs for abatement of nuisance on Block 348, Lot 94.15, and Block 653.01, Lot 4.
Move the resolution.
Second.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
And Mayor Palumbo?
Yes.
Motion is carried. 6, authorizing the purchase of certain items from the 2018 capital improvements bond ordinance in the amount of $50,826.20.
Before you vote on this, I ask that we table this because some of the wording in the resolution is incorrect. It needs to be corrected before we bring it back to you. And also, I know there were some questions about the actual purchases. If everyone's satisfied with it, we can have it corrected, have the resolution corrected for the next meeting, or if you wanted to wait until some other questions are answered.
What's your pleasure?
This would be to purchase the park equipment, some of the park benches, the picnic tables, that type of thing for the existing project.
Well, we don't have a right, so we gotta table it anyhow till next meeting.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion, we table ordinance till next, or resolution till next meeting.
Second.
Yeah, I mean, and if it's something that makes sense to save us money, if we can get it in by next week, that's fine.
Okay.
I mean, we're gonna invest a lot of money based on some county funds and stuff, so, let's try and get whatever we can out of this, especially if it appears there's gonna be a pretty decent price increase, so.
Okay. The only reason I ask is because Paul will not be at the next meeting, so if you have questions for Paul, just wanted to make sure they were addressed to you.
Is there any urgency that it has to be done this year?
There will be price increase January 1st.
Changes on the state contract.
Correct. They
So it makes sense to do it.
It's a 5%,
Well, it's not like we're not gonna
it's
do
a
it.
5% increase.
Do we have to accept it now, Brent,
Well, that's the thing, we'll have to accept it, we're gonna have to store it.
Well, no,
and do we
can
have
delay
room to
shipment.
store this?
Okay, we can delay it?
Yeah, we can delay
Okay.
shipment.
Sounds like a plan.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
And Mayor Colombo?
Yes.
Before we move on, just to clarify, are we bringing back the resolution corrected with the technical issues for the next meeting? Is that?
Yes.
I think that's what we voted on.
All right, we'll put it on the next agenda.
Yes. Item number 7, budget transfers.
Motion approved.
Second.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
And Mayor Colombo?
Yes.
Carried. 8, amending Resolution 320-2019, authorizing the execution of a subcontract with the County of Cape May for the state fiscal year 2021 Municipal Alliance Program.
Move the resolution.
Second.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Colombo?
Yes.
Motion's carried. 9, support the Cape May County Church Road and portions of Butter Road and Stagecoach Road roadway improvement project.
Move the resolution.
Second.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Colombo?
Yes.
Motion's carried. 10, authorizing change order number 1 for the demolition of unsafe structures, contract resulting in an increase in the amount of $1,224.
Move the resolution.
Second.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Corson? Mr.
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Colombo?
Yes.
Motion's carried.
Looking right at her.
Number 11, under ordinances, public hearing and final adoption of ordinance number 19, 2019, authorizing the transfer of township-owned land to Habitat for Humanity. Public hearing.
So unless there's any comments from the Township Committee, I'll open it up to the public. If anyone would like to address the Township Committee on ordinance 19, 2019, again, the transfer of township land to Habitat Humanity, now's the time to do so. Please come up to the podium, state your name, your address, and your reasons for addressing the Township Committee. All right, let the record reflect that there was no public comment. So we'll close the public hearing portion and entertain a motion for adoption.
Make a motion to adopt ordinance number 19, 2019.
Second.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
And Mayor Colombo?
Yes.
Motion is carried. Item number 12, public hearing and final adoption of ordinance number 20, 2019, bond ordinance providing for various capital improvements in and by the Township of Upper and the County of Cape May, New Jersey, appropriating $2 million therefore and authorizing the issuance of $1,900,000 bonds or notes of the township to finance part of the cost thereof.
And Barbara, this is following the process that our accountant and...
Bond council, yes.
Okay, so I'll open it up to the public. If anyone from the public would like to address this ordinance 20, 2019, now's the time to do so. And again, please come to the podium and state your name and your address. Okay, again, let the record reflect there is no public comment, so we'll close the public hearing portion and entertain a motion for adoption.
Motion to adopt ordinance number 20-2019.
Second.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
And Mayor Colombo?
Yes.
Motion is carried. Item number 13, under new business, Erica Blaine request for a no passing zone on Route 49 in Tuckahoe.
I received a phone call on this from Erica, and I forwarded it to the clerk's office to make this request. I thought it was a jurisdiction of DOT, not us, or the state, I mean, in that case. Growing up in that general area, and I know Mike's there too, with the traffic getting heavier and heavier all the time down there, and people are passing left and right, speeding, there seems to be an increase of younger kids in that area.
Obi, just let me jump to the chase on this
Yeah.
one a little bit.
Yeah.
When I had talked to Barb, and she did a lot of good research, and when we really started looking at the research, we've been looking at this issue since 2009, and in two separate cases, it seems like the DOT has concurred and agreed to create a no passing zone. In other words, under the statute, that is a no passing zone from Woodbine Road
Okay.
all the way out to Route 50. On one other occasion, the committee has written a resolution asking them to speed up the process of restriping it, and each time we kind of communicate to them, they kind of write back and say, oh, it doesn't warrant restriping, even though the DOT, the other
Years
office,
ago.
had done that. So
And this section that they're asking now is included in those
it's
prior.
in the same section.
You
and-
probably have 10 years worth of requests to the DOT.
So here's what I think, and tell me if this makes sense. Why don't we do a resolution saying that we would expect the NJDOT to follow what they have already
Attach
agreed
their
to?
approval letter.
Yes.
What?
And attach their approval letter.
Right, and, so like,
And I think we should forward it on to our state assembly and senators and try to get,
Yeah, we have a newly elected.
well, we'll send it to the
state
governor too, actually.
I mean, we have 10 years of incompetence here, let's try to get somebody, but no,
Do whatever it takes, send it to everybody.
there you go.
No, but I think reinforcing what we've gotten as a response from the state already, would certainly say, okay, it's in your hands, take care of it now, please.
Does the resident know that we've had this?
Yeah, well, I mean, she sent me an email, and I responded to her as well. And one of her, processes, she said that, it really makes sense. It's where the kids get the school buses and everything else, so.
That, with the passing zone there and the houses, you're about, 30, 40 feet off the road. And with all the younger kids, complaints I got also is the rumble strips during the night and early mornings and all. Very disruptive to the kids, the people who live along that street with their kids. So no passing should help that.
Right, so do we make a motion to that, or you just want to, you're okay to proceed?
Move to have a resolution placed on the next agenda in accordance with the discussion.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Powers?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
And Mayor Plummer.
Yes.
Item number 14, bid results for the replacement of Putnam Avenue and Sumner Avenue bulkheads.
Paul?
Yes, thank you. This is for the replacement of the two bulkheads in Strathmere. Both of them, both are lower than our required height, so these will be bringing the two bulkheads up to the required
To 8 foot?
8-foot elevation. The low bid was by Arthur Henry from Egg Harbor Township of $243,800. 13 contractors took out the bid specifications to review it. We had 3 bidders. This low bid is within my engineer's estimate of the project and the funds available. So I'd recommend that we can award that to the lowest responsible bidder.
And this is a part of our master plan to have all the bulkheads replaced within the next 10 years, right?
Yes.
With those that aren't in compliance with the 8-foot rule.
Correct. And this, just to give the committee some information, over this past winter, I think there's been 2 bulkheads being raised currently, and one that's going to be adjacent to Putnam Avenue. They're actually raising theirs to elevation 10. So there are people moving forward with the township's direction.
Okay, would someone like to make a motion to award the bid?
So moved.
Second.
Call the roll?
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Powers?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
And Mayor Plummer.
Yes.
Motion is carried. Item number 20, under unfinished business, draft of the 2020 Department of Public Works Resident Information Packet.
Is this you, Scott? or-
Between myself and the Public Works Administration, yes. We've worked to make a few modifications specifically, and I'll let Craig talk to the specifics. In addition to penalties, we've also made them known within this document. There's nothing different here. These penalties have always held fast, and we've used them in the past. But we just want to kind of educate the public with this as to the warning process and then potential penalty process. And like I said, Craig will explain that a little in more depth.
The first two we would like to see change would be our bulk trash collection. Right now we do it weekly, and what Mike and I are finding is that we can be more efficient if we decide to do the township the first week of the month, the entire township, top to bottom, and we would have all cleaned up in that week, and we don't.
So right now it's weekly, but depending on what trash pickup.
Yes. What that's going to allow us to do is it's going to free up our guys to do their regular duties for the remaining 3 weeks of the month. As opposed to starting Monday, Tuesday, stopping Wednesday, pulling the equipment back for all trash, maybe into Thursday. And we just feel like we're not efficient, losing time. So the township would just be a mess for 1 week instead of the entire month.
I guess, and what you say makes sense. The only thing that I'm a little concerned about is we all know that there's times where people unfortunately put things out on not the right day for bulk trash pickup, and then you have mattresses and things like that that are out there for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, or whatever.
That's going to happen anyhow.
I kind of get that, but I mean, we need to find a way, at least initially, to educate people because if they're following, the routine that they're doing now, and we switch it, I don't know that we should hold people responsible, at least the first time, until we, get them educated.
Yeah, there's going to be a learning curve. And I think for if people are following the schedule that you put out there, and there are circumstances in which, somebody may be moving out of a house or whatever, there should be some type of an arrangement made that they notify Public Works, and we go out there and we pick it up when they bring it out. So it's not sitting out there for the whole month.
But that would be almost counterproductive if you're trying to keep people available for other things other than the once a month, right?
But how often does it happen? And somebody's going to have some special circumstance.
And that's where our inspection people come in to make sure that things are properly adhered to as far as the policies are concerned. And if they're not, that's where we have further education of those who are not in compliance, getting them into compliance.
I mean, it's going to increase the efficiency, even though we have to change people's behavior, and there's going to be a penalty attached to it. The main thing is we got to increase our efficiency and provide other services as of right now that we can't because we're constantly picking up bulk trash.
Rich, the problem was, so if you go back to October, and this is where it really came down, October had 5 Wednesdays. That threw the whole township for a loop.
Would it be beneficial for us to do a sticker that goes on one of their trash cans that depict everything that we're going to be doing and the change? I mean, we have Billy usually trail on the trash trucks anyway.
I would be more in favor of just stickering the things that are put out at the wrong time.
That's
and
fine.
say, put them back until, the next date that, because, I mean, if we're going to establish it's the first, whatever day, let's say the first Wednesday of the month, that sticker should say that, saying this is when we're picking bulk up.
But when, the 5th Wednesday threw everybody for a loop, so if you write through the town, and look at the amount of bulk out, it's because people that read the schedule, there is no bulk in December. But in November, everybody was a week ahead, so we did Tucker Huddle on our scheduled day, and everybody was behind and thought it was the following week. So that 5th Wednesday really throws everybody off. It happens a couple times a year. So then we start to see the bulk all over the township. And I think this is going to rectify and educate the people to
Well, I think we have to go with our public works recommendation. I mean, that's a...
Oh, I agree.
I'm not suggesting we shouldn't. I just want to make sure that we get that information out. And, you know, it's something you should post on the website and those kind of things, so.
Well, Facebook seems to be the place that it all goes, so.
All right,
You'll get some comments.
Any other changes?
Yeah.
The only other that we wanted to talk about was the loop leaf collection. Mike and I have been talking about trying to get it more of a standard procedure. This year we started with a crew, the north end of Beasley's Point, crew in Seaville, and a crew down to southern end, working towards each other. And it's going really well. We're ahead of schedule. We have right now already started our second and final pass through the township in the Beasley's Point area. The guys are really ahead of schedule this year with the leaf collection. What we were thinking, Mike and I were kind of leaning more towards using, say, our trash and recycling collection layout for that area. We will start in that area with all our crews. When that section is completed, we'll move to the next location and continue working through the township. And again, same thing, notify residents, make them aware that this is, it's not a whole lot different, but then you'll know that they start in this area, your area is next, starting the first week of November. So we're complete.
Basically breaking the township up into zones.
I know that's where a lot of the other municipalities do it, and they placard, you know, the areas, so that it's a warning, you know, this week is your leaf pickup. Get them out, or you don't get them picked up.
It's hard to do. It's really hard to do just because of
Well, you also have to, it depends on when the leaves fall down. They were late this year.
Yeah.
This year they started early.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, just to give you an idea, like a zone would be from Beasley's Point, Church Road, east to west. And then we would include, say, Steelman Town, all the way to LaVar's, as zone 1. And then zone 2 would be, say, Church Road to Oak Corset. Zone 3 would be the Township lines north to Oak Corset. And then another zone of Petersburg, somewhere in that area. You know, we would add Petersburg in one of those zones, a smaller zone, but that's how we're looking at it.
So you would do the whole zone with everything you have?
Yes.
So you could come up with a mapping system that would show exactly where the zones are for the residents, that you live in zone 1, you know when you're going to be getting.
The
We
only-
basically already have something similar to that, and it would just be...
the only thing I would say is that we obviously can't do zone 1 too early, because then who's ever in zone 1 is disadvantaged if the leaves don't fall as soon as, you know, because they, you know, I mean, that's an issue you have to look at.
This year, we started the first full week of November. I think we started November 7th, because, like Craig said, the leaves fell. Next year, we may wait until the second week of November. So we can't really hold true to the exact date that we're going to start the first full week of November.
But you can still hold to the zones.
But we can still hold the zone.
That's right.
The problem is if you have 5 zones, and who's going to be the 5th zone?
I think we're going to 4 zones.
Okay, who's gonna-
Exactly. What we have right now is 4 zones. Basically, if you think about what I just gave you, and then talk about.
And I understand that, but you have a crew in each zone, so people are seeing progress. If let's say you have all the equipment up in Beasley's Point, or let's say you put all the equipment down in Seaville, and you're not going to get to Beasley's Point until last. And the Mayor's Street's going to be done the week before Christmas.
Don't worry about that.
But the superintendent of public works says it's Steelman Town, and he doesn't get done until last.
Well, he's probably going to be smart enough to put his in the backyard.
I think if you develop a plan, we'll have a better understanding what you're talking about. Listen, I don't think anybody's going to complain about efficiency and trying to make it work better for the
And we're still
township.
going to have 2 passes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Each zone will be.
There's still 2 passes.
I think as long as we can make the residents clear about when they're going to be picked up, the majority of your problems go away.
I mean, what we're trying to do is keep the machines off the street. And we've done a really good job this year, Craig and I. working to keep the brand new front end loader and keep the backhoe off the streets, not tearing up the streets, not tearing up the equipment. And to say that.
Yeah, I think it makes sense.
Good.
It's a minimal use for the equipment.
Definitely makes sense.
Okay.
Sounds like a plan.
Anything else for the manual?
We're going to
or-
put a resolution on next meeting for the packet as presented, correct?
Yes.
No other changes, revisions that you wanted to point out?
Other than, like I said, the last part would be the potential fine for non-compliance, but we are going to, as mayor, you had suggested several meetings ago, give a warning after, I believe it was 7 days. There's another reinspection process with potentially one more warning after that, and then if non-compliance, then a summons can be issued.
Are you gonna have that written into the ordinance?
It's already in the ordinance.
It's already there.
That's how we go about?
Well, I don't know about the warnings, but the issuance of the summons and the fines are already in the ordinance.
Okay, all
But
right.
if you're going to go 14 days, basically, you're almost back to your pickup time again.
Well, I'll give you an example. This year after brush collection, a couple people in Caledonia ripped the complete shrubbery out and curbed it. And there was a pile of brush there for months, 2 months or better, before they finally got it rid of. You saw it.
Yes.
To me, they get a 7-day notice, and then they receive a summons. If you don't start sending a hard message, you're not going to change.
We're not trying to be overzealous with it, but, you know, at the same
You're
time,
better
we're
off
trying to be
do
efficient.
a summons and then suspend it or, you know, take it away in court if they comply. Then to wait, because now we're going to be 30 days on a summons, getting them into court, gets postponed, the stuff could be out there, you know, even longer.
Well, I don't want to tie the courts up either, so that's why I think if we give a warning, and if they don't comply, then I'm okay with following with a summons.
Yeah.
But the last thing I want is
At
to
least
have
one more.
50 people in here, and I'm exaggerating the number, but an exaggerated amount of people coming in to court just to have it thrown away.
Yeah, and I'm
So-
just, you know, my recommendation is from doing the code enforcement and all that kind of stuff, you know, in the past, and it's the only way you get the attention.
Yep.
It's the only way. I'd rather see it, like I said, get them in court and say, okay, you comply, case is dismissed. But if they don't comply, then you got them a chance to get a guilty plea, and then if they don't do it, it's contempt of court. So it takes away the burden from us at that point.
Well, my personal opinion is that we're starting a new system. Let's educate people first.
Yes.
I agree.
They're paying the taxes
I'm sure
that we're
Craig-
using to keep this township going. So before we start handing out all these citations, let's give it an educational workout anyway.
Okay, very good. Item number 16, we have our banking proposals.
Yes, went out for banking service proposals last month and received 3 back. Our current bank, Ocean First Bank, is offering us a 1.75% fixed interest rate for 2 years, or an option for a variable rate, which would be a floor of 0.75% and a ceiling of 2%. And that would work with the T-bill. My recommendation is to go with the fixed rate. We're, 1 3/4. We're currently receiving just a little over 1 point right now in interest. So we're, almost doubling our interest rate. We did receive 3 proposals from 3 local banks, but Ocean First was the most favorable. There will be no charges for any of our services as we currently have, with the exception of our merchant services. There is some small fees for that, for the credit.
What, and how about like for the merchant service, what, MasterCard, when people are paying taxes and?
Correct, not taxes. It's just the court that has the credit card machine. Taxes, residents can pay taxes through, with their credit card, but they access a different program. We do not assess any fees for that. The fees may be assessed by that third party. But the only merchant services that we have are with the court.
And so what are they going to charge us for the court?
That would stay, we can keep our current contract with the merchant services. That would not necessarily have to change. We can ask for a proposal from the bank's vendor, or we can keep our current contract for the merchant services.
Just an interesting point, when you had your bond auction, John can verify this, that because of your rating, you actually earn interest rate essentially the same.
That's what we're going to do.
Your earned interest is the same as what they're charging you for, is on the bond that was auctioned.
Okay, well,
I'd like to make,
based on Barbara's recommendations, and I'm sure, John, you've reviewed it as well, so go ahead.
I'd like to make a motion that we go with Mrs. Ludy's recommendation on Coastal Bank for our banking services for the next 2 years. Ocean First.
Second.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Cobb?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
And Mayor Plumbo.
Yes.
Motion is carried.
Someone like to make a motion to pay the bills?
I hereby move that all claims submitted for payment at this meeting be approved and then incorporated into the full minutes of the meeting.
Second.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Cobbins?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
And Mayor Plumbo.
Yes. There are a number of reports from the municipal departments, the clerk's office, construction office, finance office, MUA report, tax collector, Department of Public Works. All these reports will be available upon request tomorrow at the clerk's office. However, I'd like to make a motion to accept these reports.
Second.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Cobbins?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Plumbo.
Yes.
Motion is carried.
So at this time, we've reached the public comment portion of the meeting. If anyone would like to address the Township Committee, now's the time to do so on any issue. Please come to the podium, state your name and your address and your reason for addressing the Township Committee.
Good evening. Blanche Adams at 330 Woodbine Road in Steelmantown. And two comments tonight, representing the Upper Township Business Association first. And I just wanted to announce that we are open for the holiday shopping season, and thank you for your support of our community night. We had our 8th annual community night a couple weeks ago, and I want to thank you for providing us with the lighting, the outdoor lighting, which was so important for the safety of our visitors, for the tables that you helped provide us with, and for Deputy Mayor Barr for coming and cutting the ribbon along with Santa and officially opening up our holiday shopping season in Upper Township. It was another great event, and the vendors were pleased. Was a segue into Small Business Saturday, so we were supporting that event as well with some our partnership with the Sentinel Ledger of Upper Township was publicizing all the specials that our businesses were promoting on Small Business Saturday, and so Community Night was just the beginning of that. So really just want to thank you for your partnership with the Business Association, and we look forward to next year and to your continued support. So I appreciate you being there with the tables too at the Township. And then just the second real quick comment, because I think kickoff already happened and we all want to get out of here, but so I'm also representing the Tuckahoe United Methodist Church, and I wanted to tell you about an exciting project that we have in the spirit of helping community, with Upper Township being such a generous community. We, in Tuckahoe, the Sunday before Thanksgiving, we opened up what we call as a little free pantry. And it's a little structure outside of our church on Route 49, just a 2x3 structure. And the thought of it is we help our neighbors in the community of Tuckahoe. We share what we have, and we ask people to bring what they can to share and take whatever they need. So it's been so exciting to see the community support. Just people that don't even live in Tuckahoe are coming and bringing items. The items like non-perishable food and toiletries and cleaning supplies. And it's just wonderful to see. And then people are coming and taking what they need, a jar of peanut butter or whatever they might need. It's 24/7, it's all anonymous, you don't have to sign up and, show need or anything. So it's just a great spirit, continuing the spirit of, that you show as leaders in Upper Township. We're doing our little part in the community of Tuckahoe, and I just wanted to share that with you as well. Thank you. That's all. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Hi, Linda Bateman, 14 East Tecumseh in Strathmere, and I'd like to ask a couple of questions about, fortunately not leaf collection, but we have, with the increasing number of renters in Strathmere, we have a lot of people who still don't understand what can be recycled and not recycled. So what happens on Monday mornings, a lot of times people go home on Sunday nights and the recycled cans are opened and there are pizza boxes or there are things in bags. So a lot of times that gets dumped into the trash and the homeowner or the renter has no idea that the recycling was rejected. Sometimes it's left if the recycling is last, and people will say, well, why wasn't my recycling picked up? And I guess wanted to know, one, how are people warned? A few years ago, we lived in California, and we came home, and there was a tag wired onto the handle, just like a furniture tag, wired onto the handle of our can that said, this is too close to the recycling can, the machine can't pick it up. And big red warning, and a little check mark with the things that you had done wrong. And if you do this is your first warning. If this happens a second time, your trash won't be picked up, and you'll be fined. We had no idea that was a thing, and of course then we learned. But if the homeowner or the renter doesn't know, or the tenant doesn't know what the recycling is or why their recycling wasn't picked up, they'll say, oh, they skipped me, or oh, they didn't come. Or they don't even know that it went into trash instead of recycling. So I'm wondering if there isn't some sort of a temporary warning that could be put on it, or how do you notify the owner of the property who isn't occupying the property to let the tenants know about how to recycle?
Well, if we are going to get a sticker made up for bulk items that are put out on the wrong day, we could incorporate some of the other issues into that sticker. We could tag the cans and then not pick it up until the defect is corrected. That's what's done in a lot of municipalities, fairly easy. The one thing is that I'm really a little uncomfortable with is that we are dumping recycling cans into trash trucks. We shouldn't be doing that under any circumstances.
The problem is, years ago, too, when this recycling started, we had issues in Strathmere. Because the Strathmere situation is unique to the township. You have renters who don't care. They don't recycle, they throw everything away, they leave it a mess, and somebody puts it out, and they're gone. So
And we have homeowners who don't realize that.
So we have to go back and pick it up again if we don't take it and just throw it away. Because the next tenant's coming down and is paying X amount of dollars for the weekend, and he's got to deal with somebody else's trash from the week before. So that's the problem with Strathmere.
Well, it's a little more complex than that, I think.
We could develop some placards that at least those individuals that are homeowners that are renting their properties.
We do that. We already have that.
So, I mean, to me, I've gone on vacations where, basically on the refrigerator is posted what you need to do to follow.
That's what Ocean City does.
Just so you know, the violations, the notices they talk about, it's not just for bulk. We also have it for violation on recycling, wrong container for trash. There's post-it notes that go on the cans. So whether they see it or not or deal with it, eventually there's going to be a violation to the owner if they don't correct it.
Yes.
Well, as the person who's there on Mondays when everybody goes home, I return a lot of trash and recycling cans, or I see Public Works come by, and I don't know that they have time to.
There's a specific officer that does it. It's an enforcement officer. It's not trash truck drivers.
Okay, but it happens, though. I mean.
Yes, I've gotten notices.
Yes, there's an enforcement arm, there's enforcement being done.
Okay. Well, when people complain to me about why their trash and recycling weren't picked up, they're many times amazed to find out that they can't mix things, and it's not the same as what they follow at home, or they didn't know pizza boxes didn't count. It's a constant education and re-education.
And I've said it before at previous meetings, but I always refer them to our website. We have links not only
Right.
for our own information, which once adopted, this township rules and regulations will be on there, but in addition to that, there's also other sources that we direct people to at the county that have it on smartphones where if they ever have a question, you can go right to that and it specifically identifies what can be recycled, what can't be,
But,
and so forth.
but I understand that. From a practical point of view, if the recycling and trash trucks come by and pick up what's there, how does the person ever know that that wasn't done properly that week? Well, how does the inspector can't trail you guys and
Inspector goes ahead.
and does what?
The inspector's ahead of him.
Looks at the trash.
I mean, he's out there every day.
It's his job, it's almost a full-time job.
I mean, seriously, he is. I see him come in our area.
A lot of the municipalities, especially on the islands, have rental registrations, and then you get something to put on the refrigerator that details it, and it's a requirement that you have to have it. Where we don't have the registrations for rentals, we really don't know who's renting. So it's really hard to enforce it.
I talked to Bruce Reardon at great length, because obviously Bruce is one of the biggest renters in the show.
And excuse me, we've also had a drastic increase. It used to be, I don't know what the current percentage, used to be like only 4% of the homes were rentals. And that number has gone way up in proportion to the building that we have, as you know. So it's way more.
They try to have the tenants that are coming in week to week, they do have notices on the refrigerator. The problem is, like Kurt said, is
They're on vacation. They're going home.
vacation, whether they follow or not. The other problem with Strathmere is, if we don't pick it up, the inspector's gone, we don't pick it up, the lady next door calls and said, the can just blew over, it's all over my yard, it's all over. There's nobody in that residence. There's nobody there to take that can back. So now what do? We go over there and clean up all the trash that's on the ground. Or we send the truck back over the next day because the truck's already left the island. So it's a catch-22 on how.
So why couldn't you have a tag or a sticker when you, even if you empty it, to put something on there that said that you didn't recycle properly? Why do you have, if the inspector doesn't catch it? I mean,
We could have the tags and not make excuses for it or not, but if I put a tag on it after we dump it, the next renter comes through and looks at that tag and
They don't care.
they don't pay attention. And I'm not making excuses for the prior people, but we do put a tag on it and then the next renter coming in is saying,
He doesn't care.
what's this?
He'll do the same thing.
And I do see you walking around Strathmere, and I do see you put cans back in people's houses.
it's what we do, but there are fewer and fewer of us there. I can't do the whole town. So any suggestions would be, I think that, I mean, you guys do a great job, I'm not talking about you at all, but it happens more times than you would think. We see the recycling get thrown in with the trash, and you're between a rock and a hard place.
I deal with the same type of people in my business every day.
Well, I'm not
And
disparaging people, I think
And I
that,
have signs up, and I've actually had people in the dumpster putting the wrong thing in the wrong dumpster, and I'd tell them, you need to separate it, you need to do this. Oh, you should put a sign up.
Right.
I take them by the arm and turn them towards the sign and point to it. And I mean, short of beating them in the head with it, there's no way they understand it.
Yeah, you need to make them neon.
and I had two follow-up questions for you, Mr. Dietrich. The sidewalks on Neptune will be on the beach side or on the property side?
I don't know yet.
You don't know?
We just received the grant award.
Okay. And
Until
so you don't know where they're going to be?
process.
Are you concerned about the addition of concrete and an addition of more non-permeable, non-water flooding absorbing things that's going to go 3 blocks the width of?
No.
No? More concrete, more, less absorption, more heat?
It'll be a minimal amount, and concrete is not a real heat producer compared to the asphalt.
But we'll
This is the
lose
pedestrian
what's...
safety- This is pedestrian safety. We've had complaints on that road that people don't feel safe, so we're looking at, there's no sidewalks there, people are trying to get up to the beaches. So the importance is, public safety is to get them to the beach safely.
So the only answer is concrete?
Not the only answer, but we just received the grant this past week. We haven't started design, we haven't even done a survey of the
It
area.
sounded as if you had decided what you how you wanted to proceed?
No, that's not what he said. He said that there was a survey, and he realized that several of the properties were encroaching on the right-of-way.
Right.
And they're going to be notified that in some
course.
way their properties will be affected. That's what he said.
Right. And also wondering about the status of the township building ordinance and the waterway access. When will that get to the public? Because we're
It's
coming
available to
up
the
on-
public right now. It's on the township website.
what is available?
The draft ordinance and the draft of the public access plan, they're on the ordinance. I mean, they're on our website today, in advance of the discussion at the planning board meeting, and it's,
Just to clarify, the planning board's still discussing it. It's in draft form, could be changed. It's the result of the committee's meetings and the planning board. But it's not final yet.
it's not final yet. The draft ordinance is available.
Well, how do people know about this? If you remember, when we had all the people here, the big thing was nobody told me.
Last week, the agenda was on the website detailing that the master plan was going to be reviewed at the December planning board meeting, which said that they would be reviewing the Strathmere zoning ordinance and the public access plan. So
And
if somebody's watching the planning board agendas for that, they would have been
And the
notified.
ordinance doesn't get adopted till, just like the last time, it has to come
I
to the
understand.
township committee.
And the resolution, was there a resolution on the large lot, which was the big stumbling block?
Well, I wouldn't say there's a resolution, there's a draft.
A draft?
There's a draft proposed to address that, and it will be discussed at the planning board, and if the planning board, hears public input, they'll make a decision one way or another to incorporate it into the master plan reexamination, which would then be forwarded here to the township committee for their review.
So that will probably be sometime in January?
No, well, the quickest it would be the planning board would review the master plan and approve the master plan language in January, would be sent to the township committee and draft at the earliest would be.
You're probably talking at least the second meeting in January.
The second
earliest
meeting
for
in
introduction.
January, and then that would be just for them to the committee to
But
see
a
it.
lot of this is premature.
Sure, I'm just giving.
The problem is, we haven't seen it yet. Okay, so we haven't seen it, so we don't know whether that's something that we're gonna put on it. It has to be reviewed first. When I say we, I mean the township committee.
The planning board's not, they could review it, not like it, and send it back, and
Yes,
They're discussing it at the December 19th meeting.
yes,
We
that's
just
all
gotta
really
notice.
we can say.
So until that meeting happens and until the planning board adopts their master plan reexamination, how long it's going to take to get to the committee for them
Depends
to
on
examine it?
what the recommendations are, and the committee can either follow the master plan or not, and they're gonna have to review it. So to give actual dates at this point is dangerous, because you'll be up next time at that date and saying, where is it? That's why I'm a little concerned.
Well, I'm also interested in getting it into the public record. There are people who watch this. Not everybody goes to the website, and not everybody follows the agendas. We've been through all that, but I think the more we can talk about it and make people aware of what's coming, the better it will be. And the November planning board meeting was canceled. So,
Because of flooding?
pardon me?
We didn't have any.
Oh, I was,
We did not
right,
have-
I thought the waterway access plan was going to be discussed at the November meeting. That's why we had to have our comments due by the 12th of November. Anyway, thank you. And I guess we'll wait and see what you decide about the recycling, because obviously we're interested. Oh, and the cans on the streets, how much longer will they be out? The public, did you pick them up, the beach entrance cans?
I know we picked up some of them, and we're still evaluating others that we may also pick up as well. We have a kind of a catch-22 situation, because when we remove too many, then we get complaints and trash
Well,
blows around.
It
So
hasn't been easy to
get.
get onto the beaches with the replenishment anyway, but I don't think the beaches are being used the way that they
But we're
normally
keeping an
would be
eye
this
on it,
time.
and our public works team is evaluating.
Okay, thank you.
Is there anyone else who would like to address the township committee?
I'm David Wirtz, 34 Hilltop Drive, Marmora. My name is David Wirtz. I'm a member of True 55 Tuckahoe. I'm here tonight to ask permission to build 10 to 15 trash can holders to place in Amanda's Field for my Eagle Scout project. I would like to build these trash can holders that are surrounding the walking path at Amanda's Field and possibly refurbish some of the older trash cans holders adjacent to the Amanda's Field playgrounds, whether it's the baseball fields, football fields, or soccer fields. I'd like to paint them a color of your choice. I came up with this idea a few months ago when I was at the park and I wanted to throw away some trash. I noticed some of the trash cans were blown over and the trash was on the ground. I would like my Eagle Scout project to help the community of Upper Township. Amanda's Field is a great park and I'd like to keep it looking nice and clean. People would be encouraged to throw their trash in the trash cans when they see they're not on their sides. Depending on your recommendations and the Boy Scout Council, I would like to begin construction as soon as possible. My rough estimate on materials is between $1,500 and $2,000, which I plan to start raising as soon as possible. I have a few local businesses that have already offered to donate for my Eagle Scout project. Thank you for your time and please consider my Eagle Scout project.
Stay there. Good.
Okay.
We can give you an answer right now.
Okay.
Absolutely. I think, coordinate with Craig to make sure the plan is what, the township wants and all. I think it's a great project.
No, I have no problem with it. Community service is what it's
By the
all
way,
about.
David's a good singer. I was in front of the
Oh,
church.
that's- well, then he's gotta sing.
And he has a pretty good voice. I was like very impressed.
Make sure,
Thank you.
David, before,
He was singing at Mass the other day.
before you get out of
Do we
here,
have somebody to sing the national anthem?
May is doing it.
Yeah, maybe that will be a requirement to finish up your Eagle Scout. When we dedicate it, you'll have to
We
sing.
can make him.
before you
Okay.
get out of here, David, you're gonna have to meet with Craig Reeves, get his business card. You guys can set up a meeting, go over what you need to do.
Okay, thank you
So
so
just
much.
for the public record, for your sake, I'll make a motion that we approve that Eagle Scout project request.
Second.
You should coordinate with the engineer, township engineer and public works, right?
Yes.
I add that to my motion.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
And Mayor Plumbo.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Good
you.
luck.
Anyone else? All right, and we appreciate anyone that brings forth their ideas and suggestions to the Township Committee, and thank you for doing so. So at this time, I'll close the public comment portion and entertain a motion to go into executive session.
I hereby move that a resolution be incorporated into the minutes authorizing the Township Committee to enter into an executive session for the following matters pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act. The matters are litigation on Whippoorwill Campground, contract negotiation for annual appointments, and personnel. I also include in my motion the estimated time and the circumstances under which the discussion conducted in closed session can be disclosed to the public as follows. It is anticipated that the matters discussed in closed session may be disclosed to the public upon the determination of the Township Committee that the public interest will no longer be served by such confidentiality. With respect to employment and personnel matters, such discussions will be made public if when formal action is taken or when the individuals involved consent that it can be made public. With respect to contract negotiations, such matters will be made public when negotiations have ceased and there is no longer a reason for confidentiality. With respect to litigation matters, such discussions will be made public when litigation is complete and the applicable appeal period has expired.
Second.
Let's call the roll.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
And Mayor Plumbo.
Yes.
Motion is carried.
Everyone, please drive safely. It's raining out there tonight. Please, could make driving a little bit difficult. So.